All right, welcome back, guys. So as promised, in this video, I'm going to show you how to send an animation in V-Ray with moving objects, lights, etc., right? So everything can move in your scene, disappear and appear, etc. So let's get to it. So basically, it's the same scene as the previous one with non-moving objects. It's the bedroom example scene. So this is my camera, and that is I'm rendering this at 24 frames per second. I have 9 seconds, so 216 frames. And as you can see, the camera is moving like this, okay? And as you can see, the lights are animated. So as you can see, this light, for example, it's changing the color. It's changing the color here, as you can see. Okay. And the lights in the beginning are off. So the lampshade is off, the headboard light is off, but later on they will pop on. Okay. So basically things are moving in my scene. The window is opening here, as you can see, the chair is sliding in, etc. You can even have flapping curtains from a wind, etc. All right. So basically how we send this animation now with the Irradiance map and light cache, because this is still the fastest way of rendering animations in V-Ray. Light cache and brute force is still slow, and a lot of people don't have that much powerful machines, so Irradiance map and light cache is still the way to go. So the first thing you want to do is basically pick active time segment. All right, so it's going to be 0 to 216 for now. You're going to be rendering this every 1 frame, because the lighting, geometry, whatever is going to change every frame. So basically you're going to have to pre-calculate irradiance map every frame, because your GI, whatever, etc., is going to change every frame, right? So we're going to choose active time segment, which is our whole timeline for this camera, and we're going to choose every 1th frame. Okay. I never use render output here. I usually use V-Ray frame buffer. So the next thing we want to do is basically select our output. So for example, I'm going to go to my desktop, whatever you're going to have that folder, bed, animation, anim, really quickly, right? So I'm going to put a new folder, C1. I'm going to go inside and type C1 underscore, or whatever name you want to do. Just put underscore in the end, because it's just going to be better for the suffix later on for the numbers. So I'm going to choose JPEGs for this tutorial, because it's going to output my frames faster and they're going to weight less. So in general, 100% of the time I'm using OpenEXR at 16-bit, and I comp them in After Effects because they have more depth, right? More dynamic range. So for this instance, I'm going to use JPEG. So I'm going to save that, right? And I'm going to choose this checkbox off, because I don't want to output anything yet, because I'm just going to calculate pre-passes. The next thing I want to choose is don't render final image. So we're not outputting anything, and we're not rendering any final images yet. All right. So the next tab is going to be GI. So we're going to choose Irradiance map light cache. For the Irradiance map, we are going to choose not multi-frame incremental, because we're calculating this each and every frame. And we're going to choose pre-pass. Okay, we're going to choose pre-pass, and we're going to locate our folder, which is going to be, for example, desktop, bed animation, C1, and I'm going to call it Irradiance map underscore. I'm going to press save. So Irradiance map is already sorted. Okay. The next thing I want to do is basically select my light cache, right? So for the light cache, because we're calculating all the samples every frame, every 1th frame, we don't need to, we're not spreading this like in previous V-Ray versions. If you were using use camera path, you were spreading all of those samples. So for example, you have 100 frames, and you should have been putting more samples too. So 4,000, 5,000, 8,000 samples, because those samples are going to be spreaded through your 100 frames. Here, we're recalculating these samples for each and every frame. So 1,000, more than enough. All right. So we don't need to save the light cache, because it's going to bake on top of Irradiance map. So basically with the light cache, just put the samples in, right? And that's it. And use the pre-pass, select where it's gonna output it, and that is about it. I don't have anything else for this tutorial. So this is basically just showing how to send animation with moving objects, lights, etc. So no output, don't render final, ba ba bam bam bam, right? Bada bing bada boom. So active time segment every 1 frame. So I'm gonna press render now, and it's gonna start calculating my light cache for each frame. So basically, if I'm gonna go to my desktop, bam bam C1. So obviously this folder is empty now, but whenever this is gonna finish rendering the prepass, it's not gonna start rendering my final image. So it's gonna output my irradiance map prepass at 0 frame, right? So the next one is gonna pile below, is gonna be 1, as you can see here, etc, etc. So it's gonna go like that, pile like that to your last frame. All right. So in this case, whenever this will finish and you're gonna have 216 etc frames, basically it's gonna stop rendering those prepasses, right? So in this case, because I already did this animation and render for you guys to show, I'm just gonna press cancel. All right, so I only have those prepasses. The next thing you're gonna do after it's gonna finish rendering those prepasses, you're gonna go into common, leave the active time segment at 1 frame, V-Ray tab, yes, render my output where you showed, and don't render final image off because you want your final image finally rendering. Go to DJI and say, so secondary engine none. So we're removing light cache because we already did the light cache. All right, it baked on the irradiance map prepasses. And the next thing you want to do is basically change from prepass to animation rendering and show that you can press on each of them. If you have 2000, just press in the middle, doesn't matter. You know, you can press 01. I usually, because you know it's on the top, in my case I'm gonna press 00, but if you want you can press 1, doesn't matter, it will pick it up, right? So in this case, okay, so we have rendering set it up, no light cache, blah blah blah, everything is set it up, output, don't render, final image off, and that. So basically every 1 frame, active time segment. So basically now if I'm gonna press render, it's gonna start rendering my 0 frame. Okay, and it's gonna go, you know, 1 by 1 until it's gonna be until it's gonna finish rendering to 216th frame. All right, so that's pretty much it. So it's gonna output those frames into your folder, which is basically, I'm just gonna cancel this because it's gonna go forever. And I did use a bit higher rendering settings on this one because I'm rendering obviously just for the tutorial. So for the min shading rate, I'm using 30, 20, 30, more than enough. 0.002 is more than enough. 1.5 if you have time, right? It's gonna be a bit slower, but the noise is gonna be completely bearable, right? But obviously you can experiment with those per frame if you want to. It depends what kind of machine do you have. So basically it's gonna render those frames and it's gonna output into your folder, which is gonna be the folder that you showed, right? So it's gonna output those frames here. And I'm gonna show an example because I already did. So this is my folder, which I prepared for you guys. So I'm just gonna remove this file for now. So these are all of my pre-passes, as you can see, 216. And these are my frames from 0 to 216, right? So I'm just gonna show you now, load into my RAM player inside of 3ds Max, animation, rendering, compare media and RAM player, all right? And I'm just gonna load this in channel A. There we go, choose that, okay. And it's gonna load the whole animation in my RAM, to my RAM. Let's go magic, boom, the lights are on. The lampshades are gonna be on, and the light above, as you can see, it's pulsating from warmish light to a colder light. So everything is changing. The chair is moving, the window is opening. I'm gonna play this at 24. And as you can see, the lights are on, lampshades that is pulsating, opening window, moving chair, etc, etc. So you can literally animate anything. You can go enter new spaces, whatever, because you're gonna have to need that new information each and every frame, right? So literally in this approach, it's gonna be a bit tiny slower because you're gonna have to pre-calculate each and every frame for the prepass, and then you're basically gonna basically fire it up on animation rendering, and that is it basically, guys. So if something did not make sense, please let me know in the comments, and I will create a second video explaining this a bit more better or in depth. So leave a like or a dislike, subscribe if you can, and be happy, guys.